Very good morning, everyone. This is the second online session as part of CO2 Spring Framework. Let's just begin in next 2 to 3 minutes. Just ensure that you open this link in your laptops or faculty are requested to project this link through projector. Just give me confirmation in the Telegram group so that I'll start in next 2 minutes. Can I just get a confirmation from faculty whether my screen is visible and my voice is audible? We'll just start this session in next 1 minute. 11:20 will start. I'm just waiting for 1 minute. Right. Right. So what I've done yesterday is something like the screen is getting paced due to YouTube Live and all, due to some internet connections and all from your end and my end. So what I've done is I just created a tribe link and I uploaded the WebEx recording directly. Okay. So WebEx recording directly. So I hope your faculty shared that link to you. If not, just let me know if your faculty is not shared because I posted it in the group. I asked faculty to share the WebEx recordings link with your students. And what I've done is like, if you open this live link also, I've just given I've just given the description also here. This is the link which contains the recordings of all the WebEx. So you can download them directly, MP4 version. So the first recording on 21st, this is from CO2 onwards, right? Like that, the future recordings also will be shared in the same file, in the same folder. And the notepad file, which I've just covered in the last class, also shared with the faculty. So what I'll do is like, I'll post the notepad file directly here. Let me just upload now itself. So So this notepad file will be uploaded, will be updated for every class. Right, right then. Thank you. Perfect. So in the last class, what we have discussed is we just covered the CO1 topics like Marvin and Hibernate framework and all. So we started talking about CO2. CO2 consists of several modules, but we are mainly concentrating on 4 modules. The first one is Spring Core, MVC, ORM, and AOP. If you see the overview of Spring Framework, Spring is a open source, that means free and lightweight, which was developed by Rod Johnson. It may contain several modules, but developers want, if developer want to develop any application, they can take one module or they can integrate with several modules. And that too, Spring can be integrated with other frameworks also. Like we can integrate with JSP, Enterprise Java Bean that you're studying in EP, and then JDBC, Hibernate, which is ORM. So there are several frameworks we have already. So we can integrate this Spring with other frameworks also. That's why Spring is also called as framework of frameworks. And Spring follows loosely coupled. So what is loosely coupled? So before going to talk about loosely coupled, let's talk about tightly coupled. If you develop any application with some set of modules, if I modify code in one module, if it is going to affect the other modules also, then it is called as tightly coupled. If it is not going to affect the other modules, then it is called as loosely coupled. So which one is best? Loosely coupled. So in loosely coupled, something like as we are not depending on other modules, we can say all the components are interconnected to each other and independent of each other, right? And Spring Core module, let's start with the first module called as Spring Core, which contains two definitions. One is dependency injection, next one is IOC. So in the last class, I completed DI. So what is DI? You generally people are used to create a new object by using new keyword. Employee is equal to new employee of. But now we are just going to give that task to someone else. So there are two ways, XML and annotations. So transferring the task of creating the object from outside is called as what? Dependency injection, right? Dependency injection. There are three types of dependency injection: setter, constructor, and third one is what? Interface dependency injection. So we are now going to use two dependency injections. One is setter DI and second one is constructor DI. And we created a new project called a Spring Core project, which is quick start. Group ID is com.klf.jfsd. Artifact ID is Spring Core project, which is application name. And I've taken one dependency called a Spring context, which contains beans, core. Related to core dependencies, you're going to get as part of Spring context. And this is the dependency I've taken from MVN repository. I created a package called as setter.di. I created a class called as employee. There are two types of data types: primitive, non-primitive. Primitive means integer, short, float, long, double, byte, boolean. Non-primitive, class, interface, object, string, collection. And coming to non-primitive, we have class, interface, object, string, collection. And we created two files. One is employee.java, second one is application context.xml, which is a resource folder. And then I've just given you definition of beans. Beans is nothing but reusable component and also called as managed object. It contains property values and the constructor arguments. Beans will be managed by Spring IOC container / Spring container. What is Spring IOC container? IOC means inversion of control. The concept behind DI is IOC, because if you want to implement dependency injection, we need inversion of control. So what is IOC container, sir? IOC container is nothing but it is to manage the lifecycle of the objects. We can create the objects, we can configure the objects, we can wire the objects, that means communicating with other objects, and we can manage them. Otherwise, we can destroy them also after the main method, right? Then there are two types of IOC containers, bean factory and application context, right? So let's talk about types of IOC containers. Types of IOC containers. The first one is bean factory. Second one is application context. So these are the two IOC containers. So I'll be just directly discussing in the code. So let me open Eclipse. Now we'll continue the demonstration. I asked all the students to be ready with the Spring Core project, which I just created in the last class. So let me just continue with that demonstration. JFSD workspace. Right. So these are the three classes now. Yesterday, I mean, in the last class, we have created this Pojo class, employee Pojo class, which consists of some primitive data types and some non-primitive data types. Primitive are integer, double, Boolean, float. Non-primitive are string and collection. Collection, there are three types: list, tuple, and set. Sorry, list, set, and map. I created setter and getter methods because we are using setter dependency injection. And I created one resource folder. I clearly explained in the last class, right? So I've taken this bean tag from the Google, from the website called as Spring XML, and there is a root tag called as beans and the sub tag called as bean. Bean contains two attributes. One is ID, which is a unique one, and the class, which contains properties, property name and property value, right? Now let's execute this. Now let's come to client controller. So we need to take one IOC. So I just want to highlight one point that I'll give you definition of bean factory in application context slowly. So before that, I just want to highlight one point that bean factory Bean factory is like it's a deprecated, because if you want to use this bean factory, it is deprecated. So people are using application context only. And this application context can be used in two ways. Either the first way is like XML, or we can use the other ways like annotations. But we are now discussing based on the what we call XML, right? So we need to take class path XML context. So this is the uh, what we call application context, and the variable is I'm taking as context is equal to new application context of, right? Here we need to mention the XML file name. What is the XML file name? A capital application, C capital context dot XML. XML. Class path XML context is equal to new class path XML context of application context. So we just need to create an object which is context object based on class path XML context. So please remember this point. So whenever you use XML, you need to use this class path application context. Okay, right. Now, and I just want to highlight another point also. Attention. Right. So this is the second one, which is nothing but, I mean, I'm not using now just for the uh, theory purpose. I'm just right annotations. Right. If you want to go with XML, go with a class path XML context. If you want to go with annotations, go with annotation config application context. Right. Now the next point here, context dot. So we need to use a method called as getBean. GetBean. So let's use getBean. GetBean. We need to use getBean. Either you can use this one or you can use this one. Either anyone is okay. GetBean. So when you just go with the getBean, first mention something like bean name. So what is the bean name? Take it from, so emp bean. So please mention emp bean. And the next one is, we just need to take the Pojo class. What is the Pojo class? Employee dot class dot class. So we just need to mention the bean name, which is a unique one, and a class name. So what is getBeanser? At this line or at this moment, the object will be created at runtime. The object will be created. So based on the employee bean information, employee object will be created at runtime. So now we are not going to create object by using new keyword. We are going to create by using through XML or through annotations, right? Will be created at runtime. And please save this into employee emp is equal to, right? Now let's just print a system dot sysout emp dot toString. So I'm just printing the values, and it is getting underlined because the resource context is never closed. Okay, so let's just close context dot close, right? Now what I just mentioned here, I mentioned the bean name. So like this, you can create multiple objects also. So you just copy this code, and again Control V, then change the bean name as 1 like this. You can do like that also. Like if you want more objects, you create more objects, but ensure that ID is unique, because ID should be unique. Class can be same, right? Then so now let me just go to here and context dot close. So let me run this. Run as Java application, right? So we got the we got the output as employee object. So for example, if you just want to individually print the values, for example, I want to print only employee name. In that case, you can use getter methods. So I can just write one point here. Use getter methods. Use getter methods to print properties individually. So for example, I want to print a name. So how to print the name? Employee name, employee name, emp dot get name, right? Get name. So let me run this. So see, this is the complete object using the toString method I printed. You need to generate toString method. We already generated in the last class, right? So now here I just printed only name. Like that, you can print remaining properties also. Fine then. So this is the setter dependency injection. So we created total 3 files. The first file is Pojo class, which contains setter and getter methods. The second file is XML file, where we define all the beans. And third one is client controller, main method. Using main method, I call the bean ID and the Pojo class. If you don't write the Pojo class, for example, I just forgot to write the Pojo class here. The problem will be this context.getBean will return object value. In that case, we need to write obj, object value, and this is nothing but O. In that case, we need to convert into employee typecast separately. So like this. But so in that case, like O dot toString. So, but I just directly mentioned what? toString directly, so that no need to convert from object value into, no need to convert object value into employee class. Directly you can just save it into employee object. So this is like what we call, we are using application context because bean factory is deprecated. So if it is XML, go with a class path XML. If there is annotation, go with annotation config XML context. Now, so let me just repeat again. We have done with the first one, which is first demo one, which is setter dependency injection. So we created total 3 files, employee.class, and next one is application context. You can give any name for the XML file, but as per the documentation naming convention, I'm giving application context. And third one is one main method, client controller 1.java, right? So let's just begin the second demo, which is constructor dependency injection. Demo 2. Constructor dependency injection. So for this purpose, let's create a new package and all. So let's go to Spring Core, right click on this new package, constructor DI, constructor DI, and after creating constructor, so what is the package name? Constructor DI, right? We created constructor DI, and let's take student, whatever it is. Let me take student. Let me take student as a Pojo class. So now student is created. So let's give first one private int ID. So ID is primitive. Next private string name, and private integer done, string done. And let's take, I mean, we discussed already, what are the primitive or non-primitive. Accordingly, you take. The next one is, let's take them private string gender, of course, private, private float age, private string boolean, no, department, private boolean, I can take graduated. Graduated means if it is true, he is graduated. If not, he is not graduated. And then let's take some certifications. List. I need to take list string certifications. Right. So in this is primitive, and this is also primitive. This is also primitive. And this is non-primitive, 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 non-primitive. Right. Right then. So we created a class called as what? Student.java. Right. Student.java. Now student.java. So what I'll do is like, I need to right click on this. So we need to generate constructor. Previous case, we've generated setter methods. So right, select all the properties, source, constructor using fields. So just choose of last member, generate. So I created a constructor successfully. Right. Now one important point is something like there is a one extra method called as super here. So super method is used to get the what we call the members from parent class to child class using inheritance concept. So there is no use of now. Let me make it as comment. And then after that, let me generate toString method. ToString method is used to print the entire object directly. Otherwise, if you go with getter methods and all, we need to print individually. So let me generate toString method also. So generate toString. So let me generate after constructor method, generate. So toString method is also generated. Perfect. So I'm ready with the student Pojo class with the constructor as well as this toString method. Now, let me also application context.xml file. So let's define all the beans now. Now second bean. So my second bean. So bean, right, bean. The first one is we need to put some ID, which is a unique ID. So you can check the description also. Unique identifier a bean. Okay. And the next one is what? Class. So you can see the documentation clearly. So if you click on class name is something like package name dot class name. And I clearly given you a definition that bean is nothing but it contains property values and constructor arguments. So property values we need to give for the setter methods, and constructor arguments we need to give for the constructor. So let me take constructor arg. So there is no information between start tag and end tag, so you can close this directly. So total how many properties we have? Let's count it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So total 4 constructor arguments we have. 1, 4, 5, sorry, 5, 6, 7. Right. The first one. So the first one is value is equal to, first one I think it is ID. ID name gender. So ID, let's take 1000. Name KLU. Value is equal to gender. And the next one is age. Age around, for example, 30.8, 30 years, 8 months. Next, I think it is department. Department is CSC. And other point is like the next one is graduated. If it is true, for example, he is graduated. So let's take, for example, false. False means not graduated. So, you don't need to bother about the double quotes and not include, with double quotes and without double quotes. Whatever the value it is, everything should be enclosed in double quotes. And the next one is what? Collection. So collection should be taken as constructor arc and take the collection type as list and mention everything as value. So we need to take value, right? The first value, for example, certifications AWS-CP. The second one, let's take it as value EX183 Red Hat EX183. And the next value we have to take as, for example, ServiceNow admin. These are the 3 certifications, for example. So you can just figure out one thing. Let me just finish up the ID also. So ID is student bean. And the class is where we created the student class. We created under constructor di dot student S capital. Right. So ID is unique and class name is constructed AI. But if you compare the setter AI and constructed AI, in the setter AI, I mentioned the names, but in constructed AI, I didn't mention the names. That means this is very important question also for the interview purpose. So let me just mention that point. The note point is like in constructed AI, if you don't mention property names, in constructor arcs tag, that means it will follow the order of arguments in the constructor method. So what is constructor? Last time already discussed. Last class we discussed. What is constructor? Constructor is nothing but the method name is same as class name. So there are 2 types of constructors. One is parameterized and second one is non-parameterized. Right. So now, if you don't mention the properties here, it will directly go to student constructor here directly. So in the student constructor, we mention the method arguments. So these method arguments will be considered as per the order. So that means whatever the value you are giving for the first one, that is 1000, it will be considered for the ID. Second value name, third value gender. So if you don't mention the names, for example, that means it will follow the order in the constructor method arguments. Sir, I want to mention the order. If you mention the order, then you need to change this order also. If you want to change this order, then mention the names. But luckily for constructor arguments, you no need to mention the, I mentioned here. In the constructor DI, if you don't mention property names in constructor arg tag, that means it will follow the order of arguments in the constructor methods. Simple logic, right? Now let's create the second one. Right click on the constructor DI, go to new, choose class. The class name is client controller 2. Because I don't want to make you confused, so that's why I'm creating multiple main methods instead of creating with the same name, right? Constructor 2. So we need to create a public static void main string args. Now again take class path XML context. Context is equal to new class path XML context of mention the resource. The resource name is application context.xml, right? Application context.xml. And now let's just call the bean context.get bean of. Let's just mention only the bean name. We'll see the difference. In previous case, I mentioned both bean name and the class name. Now let's mention only bean name. What is the bean name? Take it from the XML file. What is the second bean? Student bean. So take the student bean, semicolon. Now this will be saved into object obj like this. So in that case, we need to convert into student Pojo class, then save it into student, yes. So we need to separately typecast if this is the case. Yeah. So in previous case, I mentioned both the bean name and the Pojo class name. And here we mentioned bean name only. So we need to typecast into the required object separately. And then without any further delay, let's take s dot toString. And we need to close the context dot close off. Run as Java application. So we just got the output. So what are the files we created? Client controller 2.java, 1.java. Right. So I just want to highlight one point that let me repeat again. So what we have done so far. So we started Spring Core module. There are two concepts, dependency injection and IOC. There are three types of dependency injection. We are concentrating on two, setter and constructor. And if you want to implement dependency injection, the main point here is like you need to know what is IOC container. So what is IOC container? It is used to manage the beans. Beans is nothing but managed object. So there are two types of IOC containers. One is bean factory, second one is application context. So I completed first demo, which is setter DI, and I completed the second demo called as application context. Now I just want to give you definitions for bean factory and all. So what is bean factory? It is a root interface. It is a root interface. Root interface. I can write one thing. Bean factory is a root interface, whereas application context is sub interface of bean factory. So that means application factory can access all the functionalities of bean factory because it's a sub interface. And the other point is like, I'll write as a note point actually, note. And second point is like bean factory uses lazy initialization, whereas application context uses bean factory uses lazy initialization, whereas application context uses eager initialization. Bean factory uses lazy initialization, whereas application context uses eager initialization. Right then. Sir, what is this lazy initialization and all? Let's talk about lazy initialization. Lazy initialization means the object will be created only when you call get bean method, get bean of bean name. So when this object will be created, whenever you just call the get bean method only, the object will be created. That is comes under lazy. Sir, what is the eager initialization? Eager initialization is nothing but the all objects will be created. All objects will be created when you create context object. That means so at this line eager initialization. At this line lazy initialization. That means whenever you just create, that means whenever I mean whenever application context starts, the container starts, I can say the container starts. So you're creating the context object in the sense your container will begin, and when you close the context in the sense your container will be closed. So container starts. All the objects will be created at a time. So when you create the context object, all the whatever the beans you created. For example, if you see in this case, my XML contains total two beans, student bean and employee bean. All the beans will be created at this moment itself. Yes or no? All the objects. So application context, and the second one is what? Bean factory. So, and third one is bean factory doesn't supports Bean Factory doesn't supports annotations, whereas application context supports whereas application context supports annotations. That's why I told one thing, no? So in my previous point also I mentioned that annotations will be used in this part only, application config context, like this. So bean factory is deprecated, no one is using now. So we are using application context, XML, class path annotations. Sir, can you discuss our annotations also? Yes, we are going to discuss in the Spring CRUD operations in the next topic. That means in the next week. Okay. So till now we discussed two concepts, setter DI and constructor DI. And as of now, we discussed the two definitions, what is bean factory and what is application context. So the last concept in Spring Core, which is auto wiring. Auto wiring. Sir, what is auto wiring? It is defined as it is defined as communication between multiple beans. So beans are nothing but, you already know, managed objects. Who is going to manage the objects? Spring IOC container, managed objects. So what is this exactly? For example, let me take bean 1 and let's take bean 2. So bean 1 is going to be linked with bean 2 or vice versa, whatever it is. Bean 2 or bean 2 is going to link it with bean 1, whatever it is. Bean 1 and bean 2. So how to implement this, sir? So this is called as object. So you already know in the non-primitive methods we have an object, right? So auto wiring is defined as communication between multiple beans. So let's take two beans. So in setter DI, I taken one bean. In constructor DI, I've taken one bean. Now for auto wiring purpose, we need to take minimum two beans. Okay. So let's just wait for 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and then we'll start this concept, auto wiring. మీ వాయిస్ వినిపించట్లేదు సార్. చెప్పండి సార్. ఇప్పుడు పర్లేదు సార్, కొంచెం బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది. హలో సార్. సార్ చెప్పండి. మా కోర్స్ అవసరం లేదంటే పెట్టాలి, ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. పెట్టండి, JFSD పెట్టండి. పెట్టచ్చు. ఈవినింగ్ ఏ టైమ్స్, ఎన్ని రోజులు ఉంటుంది అట్లా? ఎప్పటి నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అయింది? ఫిజిక్స్ నుంచి స్టార్ట్ చేసుకొని ఎన్ని డేస్ ఉంటుంది? 1 వీక్. అంత రేటుగా వేయండి. JFSD ఎందుకంటే ఎలా ఎగ్జామ్ ఉన్నది కాబట్టి ఆల్టర్నేటివ్గా వేయండి. ఎంతమంది కావాలి? ఎంతమంది? ఇద్దరు. సరే ఇస్తాను. అండ్ ఇంకొక హెల్ప్ చేయాలి సార్. ఇప్పుడు మేము ఆన్లైన్ క్లాస్ చెప్తున్నాం కదా, నేను 14 నేను కాఫీ ఆ టైంలో లోడ్ లేదు. బట్ నాకు మాత్రం SRM-లో అసిస్టెన్స్ లోడ్ ఉంది. అది నేను చేయించుకోవాలి. అడిగిన సార్ ఆల్రెడీ చెప్పారు. అయితే శాస్త్రి మేడం చెప్తే మేడం సార్ నేను ఆఫ్టర్ సిఎస్ఐ ఫ్యాక్టర్ అందరినీ వాడేస్తాను. మీరు సిఎస్సి మనస్ ఫ్యాకల్టీ టైం టేబుల్ మనం రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తే ఒక అసిస్టెన్స్ ఇస్తే ఇస్తాను. నాకు పే చేస్తాను. లేదు అంటే ఎలా తీసుకుంటాం మనం? మీరు మీ సైడ్ వచ్చి ఇవ్వాలి కదా. అంటే ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు కూడా రాసుకోవాలి. నేను మొండేటి వాళ్ళు వెళ్తారు. మళ్ళీ నేను క్లాసులు లేకపోతే మళ్ళీ రాసుకుంటాను. మీరు ఒకసారి చెప్పండి ఒక మాట. మీరు ముందే చెప్పారు అనుకో, నేను జాస్తి మేడం చెప్తాను. అంటే నెక్స్ట్ వీక్ అప్డేట్ అవ్వాలి. సరే right. So let's wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll start a new concept called as auto wiring demo. Right. So which is the third demo? Which is the third demo? Right. So demo 3. Let's create auto wiring demo. So of course we need to create a package called as auto wiring. Let's create that. I'll close all this file except application context because we need to configure close other tabs. Right. Right click on src/main/java, go to new, choose package. The package name is auto wiring. It is recommended to give all small letters as package name, but concept wise I'm just creating. Even if you see my Hibernate project also in the CO1, I created concept wise, like the first one is CRUD operations. I completed CRUD operations in the this package, HQL, HCQL, and generator classes and inheritance mapping, like this. Now auto wiring. Right click on auto wiring. We need to create 2 classes. So let's create 2 classes. 2 classes are, let's take 2 classes as student with certification, for example, right? Student is already done, right? Okay, faculty. Let's create faculty with the course. Faculty with course. Faculty with course. Right. So first one, faculty. Let's start with the faculty. I created 2 classes, faculty.java, and second one is what? Course.java. There is one note point. Auto wiring concept can be implemented using either setter or constructor dependency injections. So I'll take setter methods. So let's take faculty values. Take some primitive and non-primitive. Primitive int ID, faculty ID, string name, private string private string private string gender, then private, I think the next one is double salary, private string department, private string department, right? Private int ID, private string name, private string gender, private double, private string department. Now let's take course values and then we'll come to the course again. Private int ID, that is a course ID. Here ID means course ID. Okay, don't confuse. Let me take CID. Next, private string name, course name. The next one is private string. Course name is done. Course code, course name is done. Let's take credits. I'll take credits as float. That's all. CID, CName, float, credits done. So three values are done, right? Now what I just exactly told auto wiring is one bean is linked with the other bean. So now this course will be here. How to do that? Private course object. So this is what auto wiring is. So auto wiring is nothing but communication between two objects. That means, so one of, if you take the other Pojo class object, which is course, will be the one of the properties in the other one Pojo class. What is that? Faculty. So faculty contains one property which is a object of other class. So this is called auto wiring is, right? Now I already told that we are just going to implement the concept by using a setter or constructor. So let's implement by using setter. So please select all these properties, right click on this source, generate setter or getter, select all, class member, right. So we generated all the, and please generate a toString method also. Source toString method. So after course, now go to course.java. Please generate setter and getter methods. Source, select all, class member, source, toString, class member, generate. Right then. Now faculty.java, course.java. Right. So what I've done so far, I've taken two classes and I've generated setter, comma, getter, and toString methods in both the classes. Right. Both the classes. I'll mention this point above this. Perfect. Right then. So now the point here is like, let's just take these two beans in the application context. So my auto wiring now. So now let's take a bean one. Now second bean. So what is first bean? ID is equal to, first bean is faculty bean, and class is equal to auto wiring dot faculty, right? And second bean, ID is equal to student bean, class is equal to, so it's not student, so sorry, course bean, auto wiring dot course C capital, right? So there are two beans, first bean and second bean. So let's start first bean as faculty bean, second bean as course bean. Now let's take properties one by one. The first one is ID, name, gender, salary, department. ID, name, gender. So let's start with the first property. I think we need to take total how many properties we have. Just don't count course. Let's complete remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So total 5. First one, second one, third one, fourth. First one is ID. Second one is name, gender, salary. Name, gender, salary. And the next one is department. Department, right? ID value, let me take 4654. Name is JSK. Gender male. Salary around example 30,000. Department CSC. Now we need to mention this course also. Let's do it later. So please hold on. Hold on for course. So let's finish off the course bean. Now course bean is course bean. Course bean is, I think there are totally 3 properties. CID, CNAME, credits. Okay. 1, 2, 3. The first one is what? CID, CNAME. The last one is credits. So let's take course ID. Let's take course ID as, for example, uh, I mean, course ID can be taken as string also, right? But I've taken as integer, no problem. Let me take it as some 2000 is my course ID, or 1 is my course ID. Course name is, for example, JFSD. Grades are 4 grades. Sometimes it is 4.5 also. That's why I've taken as float. Then now I'm just telling you what is auto wiring exactly. Now take the last property, which is course. So we have done with ID, we have done with name, we have done with gender, and we have done with salary, we have done with department and course. This course is linked with the course pin. So what is the property name? The property name is course. Copy this and let me introduce, you can't take value because value means if you want to give value, that value will be for that property only, but this is an object. So we need to provide the entire object value. So let me introduce ref. So ref is used to refer one bean with the other bean. So we need to refer like this. So here we need to give course bean. So let me explain this now again. I'll explain this part in the notepad for the easy understanding purpose. So this is what we taken. So now there are some properties we have taken in the faculty and the last one will be course property. And the second bean is, so this is my first bean. First bean. Bean is a managed object. This is a second bean. So we have some set of properties here. Right. So what we have exactly done. So initially we have taken remaining properties directly using property tag. And for the last one course, we need to take ref. So this course bean is going to refer the second bean. So whenever this object is going to create this value will be taken for this course. That is what auto wiring. Auto wiring is nothing but linking one bean with the other bean. Can be implemented by using setter dependency or constructor dependency. So you remove all these properties and please you can execute by using constructor arguments also. Otherwise, one setter and one constructor also can be done. That's up to you, right? So let me execute this in demo. So let me go to auto wiring and create a new class. The class is client controller 3. So now let's take public static void main. You can take main method while creating class only, but I'm just typing again. Yeah, GS. So class path application context, class path application context, and the context is equal to new class path application context of, we need to mention the XML file name. application. Even if you have spelling mistake, let's give some spelling mistake here. So we'll see what is error we are going to get. We have to see the errors also, resolve them and get the output so that you'll get a more satisfaction. So let's give a small mistake in the name. And now let me call get bean method. So we need to call which bean? There are two beans, faculty bean and course. If you call faculty, automatically course also will get. So get bean of, get bean of, get bean of. So what is the bean name? Faculty bean. And the Pojo class is, what is the Pojo class name? Faculty dot class. So and save it into faculty Pojo class. Faculty F is equal to, or faculty is equal to, whatever it is. Now system dot out dot println faculty dot toString. So when you call faculty bean, faculty values as well as course values also will be printed. Let me run this. So you'll get a error. Before that, let me close this context dot close. So let me run this. Right click on this, run as Java application. So we got the error. Class path resource application context is can't be opened. So what is the error we got? Application context, right? And let's give a mistake in the bean also. We'll see what is going to happen. Run as. So we got the error as no bean named faculty. Super. So let's give it as what? Bean. So let me run this Java application. So we got this. So first one, we got faculty details followed by course details. So this is the faculty details and the next one is course details. Right. So with this, we completed auto wiring concept also. So total 3 demos. So what the overview of, let me give you overview of Spring Core modules. There are totally 3 demos we have done. Please complete by next class because we need to start Spring Web application. The first one is setter dependency injection demo. Second one is constructor dependency demo. And third one is auto wiring demo where I just covered non-primitive object. Auto wiring demo using setter I have done. Yeah. Note point. I want you to practice auto wiring demo using constructor TI. Just replace property tags with the constructor tags, right? 3 demos. So with this, we have done with the core modules. So if I see the CO2 consists of first one is a core module, and second one is what? MVC. So in next week, what we're going to do is like, I'm just going to show you demonstration of MVC and then we'll perform CRUD operations. I can't show you directly CRUD operations program. You can't understand that kind of, it's a heavy application. So you can't understand. So we'll see what are the annotations we have and then we'll see ORM. So this is the Spring Core modules, 3 demos, setter DI, constructor DI, and the second one is third one is auto wiring demo. So with this we completed. So what you're supposed to know. So you need to know what is dependency injection. You need to know total 3 types we have, and you need to know what is IOC, inversion of control. There are totally 2 types, and you just need to know 3 demos we have: setter here, constructor here. Interface will be there in the project directly, so no need to discuss separately. Interface is something like interface with the class implementation, right? So I'll wait for 4 minutes. So what I'll do is like, I'll create a Spring MVC project so that you people can be ready with the completion of Spring Core and the Spring MVC. In tomorrow's class, you can practice them. Tomorrow is a practical. I mean, tomorrow cluster 1 morning 5-6 hours is for practice purpose. Whether it is skilling hour or practical hour, that is reserved for the practice purpose. Okay, right. So we'll create a we'll start Spring MVC. It is used to create web applications. I'll wait for 3 minutes, then we'll create this project so that we can be ready for the next week. Right. Let's continue. So we have done with Spring Core module successfully. I'm just going to show you the entire code again. Auto wiring, constructor DI and setter DI. These are the three components we have done and we executed all three. So now I'll create a third project, which is Spring Web MVC. So there are uh, two topics are pending as part of CO2. CO2 is compared to very less concepts compared to C1, CO2. I included Spring because you guys need to know what is the difference between Spring and Spring Boot exactly. That's why through some concepts in Spring, you'll get to know some disadvantages of Spring. So we are going to overcome those disadvantages in the Spring Boot, right? So two topics are, first one is Spring MVC demo and second one is Spring MVC CRUD operations. So we are going to perform CRUD operations using Hibernate, with Hibernate. Actually, we can perform using JDBC and Hibernate also. JDB is not there as per syllabus, so we are going to directly, because we have been using ORM only, Hibernate. So we'll create this project. Go to File, go to New, choose Maven project. Next, Maven hyphen, archetype hyphen, web app. Maven hyphen, archetype hyphen, web app. So some people will get 1.4, some people will get 1.1 or 1.0, whatever it is. Next, com.klf.jfsd. The project name is group ID is, already. Group ID is com.klf.jfsd. Right now. And artifact ID is Spring MVC demo project. So this should be unchecked. I've already told in the last class, if you don't uncheck this option, the point here is like, you need to confirm the details in the console. So please uncheck this option, finish. Right. The project got created. So after creation of project, we just need to wait for some time because the building should be done, right? So go to pom.xml. It's still creating. Let's wait for some time. Okay. The project is not created. It's created, right? No, not created successfully. Let's Maven up. 1 second. Let's update the Maven. I think we need to get Java version, everything and all, right? Let's do one thing. Let me remove this and create Maven web app. Okay. We should get all the Maven thing. Next, Spring web app is finish. Right. The project is created. Let's just go to pom.xml. I think one tag is missing in my case. Okay. Let me check in the previous one. Before dependencies, one tag is missing because I got a 1.0 version, right? Yeah, that's why I missed this tag. Let me add this. Okay, now everything is perfect. So change 1.7 to 1.8, change 1.7 to 1.8, and let's add the dependencies here. The JUnit is already there. Let's go to Maven repository. First one, Spring Web MVC. Web MVC. Don't take Spring Web, Spring MVC. The point here is like, we need to take either sixth version or fifth version. But as we taken Tomcat, yesterday I've sent a mail. I hope your faculty have shared the I hope your faculty shared the mail which contains the steps related to how to add Tomcat into Eclipse IDE. Okay. So as the Tomcat version is 9, so please take the Spring version up to 5 only. So in the last class, we have taken 5.3.9. Let's go to 5.3.9 only. This is the latest version in the Spring 5 version. So 5.3.39, right? Spring Web MVC. Copy this, Control V. And the next part is we need to take some JSP files. So take Java X Servlet. Second dependency, Java X Servlet. 4.0.1 Java X. Right. So Spring Framework. So two dependencies I'm writing. First one is Spring Web MVC 5.3.9, 39. Next one is Java X Servlet. But what is the version number? That is the latest version. Due to Tomcat compatibility, I'm taking Spring 5 instead of 6 to compile JSP files. Sorry. After this, we need to right click on this Marvin update, force update. Okay. All right. So done. So the project got created. Now I'll show you how to add Tomcat server 9.0 in Eclipse IDE. I've already sent the document to the faculty. So faculty might have shared this document. The document is this one. So this document is clearly showing you how to add the server into Tomcat. So I've already shared this document to all the faculty. I hope your faculty have shared the documents. So this is a document I've shared in the Telegram group. I asked faculty to share with your section students. I think I've sent the mail also, right? Yeah, I've sent the mail also. But I'm showing you again in my live recording so that you'll get to know, right? So ensure that you guys have installed the Tomcat server. So this software will be like this 9.0. So this is a 9.0. I will directly show you how to download this directly. Apache Tomcat 9. Come down. tar file is for Mac OS users, and this is for installer exe file. If you click on this, so the Tomcat will be installed 9 version. So double click on it and complete the installation process. It's just a next only, but ensure that you take in the port numbers, right? So after that, you need to go to bottom of your Eclipse window and go to servers, click on new server available, double click on this Apache 9.0, click on next, go to browse. Tomcat will be installed in the C drive, program files, Apache Software Foundation, Apache 9.0. Select folder. Sometimes you'll get unknown server specified. You just close the Eclipse and open Eclipse again, no problem. But don't try to install again. Okay, it is not, I mean, some people will say like uninstall Eclipse, uninstall everything, and no need. Just close and open again, it will be solved. Next, install JREs. JDK 21 it is showing. Let's take JDK 1.8. Click on install JREs. Click on add. Standard VM. These steps are clearly given in my PDF file. Clearly given. You can check the PDF file also, which I sent through Telegram, through faculty, and which I sent to email also. Right. Email also. Next, directory. C drive. Program files. Java. So in my case, there are two types of JDK 1.8s. Let me take any one. So let me take JDK 1.8, this one. Or you can take JRE 1.8 also, right? Finish. You can select only one at a time. Select JDK 1.8. Apply, apply, close. So select JDK 1.8. Click on next. So we already have this web project. Don't add it because we are not yet ready. Finish. Right. So now we added the project. So it is done. Next one is, let's create a new demo project. Create new dynamic web project. Go to file, go to new dynamic web project. The project name is demo web project. Now runtime is 9.0. Dynamic web model version is 3.1. So use 3.1 so that to satisfy all the existing frameworks versions. 3. In the EP also you have taken dynamic web model 3.1. It should be minimum 2.5. Okay, up to 3.1 is fine. Click on next. /main/java will be created. Next, create web.xml, which is a deployment descriptor. Not needed for this project because we are not going to get into servlets and all, right? We are only testing the project using HTML file. Finish. Now the project is created. Dynamic web project. Go to SRC, web app, right click on web app, go to new, choose HTML file. So let's create index. Index is the by default file. Now let's give a title as JFSD and some background color. Let's give some h2 ln is equal to center JFSD cluster-1 online classes. Right. Now right click on this, run as, run on server. Select this server. Next. Ensure that right hand side your current project is there, left hand side remaining projects. Finish. So you got one error. Server can't be started because of one or port numbers are invalid. So how to resolve this error? This point also I mentioned in my PDF file, right? Double click on this. Double click on this. So admin port number is hyphen here. So let's give any port, any unique port number. Let me just give something around 2001 for example and save the file. And your HTTP port number is 4654 or any unique port number. The by default port number is, let me write, Tomcat server by default port number is 8080. Now I change it to 4654. Right. Now save this file. Again run this project. You can run index.html also, run on server, but running the demo project directly. Run as, run on server. Next, finish. Right now the Tomcat is getting executed. Perfect. So I tested my project with my Tomcat server successfully. So with this same testing, we can execute our Spring Web MVC in the next week classes. Okay. Now by next week, I want you to be ready with the following task. Task to be completed by you by next week. So the first one is complete Spring Core project must be completed with total 3 demos and practice auto wiring using constructor dependency injection also in other workspace called as demo workspace or whatever workspace you want to create. Second one, download and install Tomcat. You already done, but I'm just writing again. Download, install Tomcat, either 8 version or 9 version. My suggestion is go with 9 version. And third one, add Tomcat 9.0 in Eclipse IDE. I have already shown you in my IDE. Check the PDF file also. Fourth one, test Tomcat 9.0 server by creating new project, which is a demo web project. These are 4 tasks. Then in next week, during next week classes, this is- I'll be completing Spring Web. Spring Web, what is the project we created? Spring MVC demo project. And CRUD operations also. We'll complete this one. So before going to conclude this today's session, I just want to give some introduction about Spring MVC module. So MVC stands for M means model, V stands for view, C stands for controller. And in Spring MVC, we have additional component called as friend controller. So that means dispatcher servlet will be acted as friend controller. So what is this dispatcher servlet and will be discussed in the next class clearly. Now total 4 components: model, view, controller, and the first one is friend controller. So I want all students to complete this 4 tasks before starts of next week. Then only we can just proceed with the Spring Web demo. So I'll show you the web application demo clearly. Then only we'll start the CRUD operations. Then CO3 we can start Spring Boot freely. Okay. Please complete all. And if you have any doubts, you can just come to me or you can ask your faculty also. Tomorrow, all the cluster 1 students are instructed to complete all these tasks and ensure that you are ready for the next week classes. So we will continue. We will continue Spring MVC in next week on Wednesday. Thank you.